Okay.
Hey, my name is Roy Canterbury. I'm going to be hosting Archery Talk 101, the podcast, and we're going to have a lot of fun talking with Bryan about his hunting in 3D and target shooting and all kinds of fun stuff like that. Before we get started, I just want to let everybody know where you can listen to the podcast. You can go out wherever you get podcasts like Spotify and other places like that, as well as you can go out to audible.com and you can just search for Archery Talk 101 and it'll give you a little download you can do, and then just listen to it there. It's free. Don't have to pay anything for it. It's free. Kind of probably the best way to listen to it is because it keeps you updated when you new one comes out. And then we can watch the video of the podcast, which I always record them audio and video both because hey, sometimes you got to show stuff. And you can watch that on my YouTube channel, Learn to Fix Yourself, as well as you can go out to my profile. I go live in my profile just so you can watch them there if you want. And then probably the best place to go is on the Arch Talk 101 Facebook page because that's where we have Botex, we have instructors, all kinds of stuff out there, as well as being able to watch the podcast. You can ask questions, and somebody generally will have an answer for you. And there's a lot of people in the group that have a lot of experience. And if you want to take a video of your shooting and upload it to the group, somebody will take a look at it and give you some pointers. I've been looking at videos for, well, 30 years now. So, well, actually, before they had videos, it was VCR tapes to start with, but that's another story for another day. But now let's get started with the show. Bryan, welcome to the show. And I'll have you introduce yourself and tell us a little something about you.
My name's Bryan Phillips. I love shooting my bow. I love hunting. So I've been getting into competitive archery here lately. It's a long story, but doing pretty good. And I think next year is going to be my year to really give it, the old college try. So
Yeah.
um, anyway, so you would you like to hear how I got into archery, like the whole
Oh, yeah. Yeah. It's
whole
always
story?
interesting how you got started.
So, I got a bow when I was a kid, 12 years old, recurve, and it's something I enjoyed, and I got into bow hunting kind of big, but then I drifted into music, and so I spent, I don't know, almost 20 years playing music, did pretty well with it, and then in 2015 I had a bad year, I got diagnosed with cancer and kind of other things in my life happened, and I absolutely stopped playing music. Um, and I guess I had that void I needed to fill. So a couple years later, like I was like, you know what, I'm going to get into bow hunting again. And so that was in the spring. So like I picked up the bow again, and just that was it. Feet first, dove in, and started. Deciding, oh, I want to compete at this. I was then started hunting again, did pretty good. Got some deer, but I want to do this again. So then the year I really started to take it serious 2 years ago, I had a back injury. so
Oh,
yeah, so like I was set up to go to Lancaster Classic that January, and November is when my back thing happened. So I'd have surgery and stuff. And so this year I just started shooting again. I've been able to shoot again enough to be confident to go compete. So I've been doing the ASA, and I've been doing fairly well at that. And I'm gonna go do indoors again in the winter. So I'm really gonna put it in there this year. But yeah, it's given me a lot of the kind of peace I had, with the music thing and passion. Because I'm the kind of person that has to have something like that. And yeah, yeah, I'm really happy about it. I'm excited. So that's the
well,
version. Yeah,
yeah. The short version of a long story.
absolutely, absolutely, absolutely.
So the cancer's all gone then?
Yes, sir. It was colon
Oh,
cancer. Caught it early.
oh, that's
Just
good.
it just changed me mentally, and paths you want to take in life, and you know, um, yeah, and archery just something that just relaxes me, and I love shooting my bow. And I'm competitive anyway, and don't mind being in front of a crowd. So
Yeah.
I'm really been
Well,
enjoying it.
that's one thing with archery. You have to relax while you're shooting, or you really can't shoot it very well.
It's easier said than done too, but yeah,
Yeah.
you're
Oh,
right.
just relax. Yeah, yeah, right. Yeah.
Okay. For this one moment, yeah,
Clear your
yeah.
mind, relax. Yeah, well, neither one is easy to do.
Hmm. Hmm. So yeah, I'm going to my first big shoot, national 3D shoot in Fort Benning next month. So see how that goes, and then I'm gonna go to Lancaster in January. See if I can, you know, make a run of it. You know,
Yeah. What
I got about
what division are you shooting in?
in ASA
Yeah.
right now, the known 50, the one right before the semi-pro and pro. Um, I just figured I'd take next year and see how I did in that, and hopefully shoot up. And I'm really hoping to go pro. I'm pretty good at it when I relax and
Yeah.
shoot. You know?
Yeah. A lot of us are that way. I'm
Absolutely.
I'm good if I relax, but relax like yeah, forget it. That ain't gonna happen soon.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and then so yeah, you learn ways to overcome that. So it's been pretty cool. I've met some guys who have done pretty good at it, and they've been helping me out. You know, um, so it's just something I love. I really do. Since I was a kid, I just veered off on the music path for a while, but I've always hunted. That's been a big part of my life. You know, outdoors. Period. You know,
There's a lot to being outside. It's kind of relaxing and being outside and not being cooped up inside is, can get stressful just being inside all the time. And
where we're supposed to be, I think. You know,
yeah,
you know.
yeah.
Yeah, I believe so. So, yeah. But no, I recently moved back to Virginia. The deer aren't so great here. I was in Kentucky for a long time. The hunting here is different, but it seems like the competitive archery scene's got a little more to it. So, um, I'm enjoying it. Like I said, I was taking this year and get myself ready. So next year it's gonna be the year I just go all in.
So the 3D shoot you just got through doing, how did that go? And
Well, I shot a qualifier as a local, state qualifier last week. This was I actually met the guy who owns one of the ASA ranges here, and he's been nice enough to let me come out and practice there. That's what I did today. But last week I did pretty good. I shot 7 up in my class, but I really think I'm a little better indoors, to be honest with you. Um, because you got to kill your brain there, you know.
yeah,
And I use my brain a lot at work, so it's nice to just put it on all autopilot and just shoot dots. So I don't know. I'm trying to figure out which one. I'm going to do both. So, but I really think indoors is probably a little better for me.
well, and that's why you try different things, and there's all kinds of because one works for one, and one something may work different for somebody else, and
Well, I
you
just
know,
love shooting my bow. So, you know,
yeah,
there's different seasons for everything. So,
yeah. Well, you got the indoor season to get ready for the 3D season to get ready for the hunting season, and then it starts
absolutely.
back over again.
Yeah. 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 It's, yeah, it's a pretty good cycle. But yeah, everything changes because I've been getting really into the technical part of it and the equipment and tuning and all that. And it's a lot. It's a lot. But I think I've realized that the thing, the couple years I really put into being serious about it, I realized that the most important part is shoot your bow. Quit messing with things all the time. It seems to make sense.
Yeah, I don't tend to do a lot of messing around with the bow. I get it set up and going, and I don't change it. And
Well, Go ahead. YouTube's a bad thing, you know. A couple kind of. So yeah, when I spent a little time looking for that magic pill, let me change this, let me change, and really like you just need to shoot and work on yourself and your form, and, you know, because that
The
bow's gonna
biggest
shoot the same way every time.
Yeah, the biggest problem is generally your form. Something
Yes,
doing your form.
I'm learning that. Like that's a lesson. That's kind of where I'm at right now. Is learning that lesson and I guess repeatability. Because the bow's going to shoot the same way every time. You know,
Yes.
you shoot it the same way every time, whether it's out of tune or not. It's going to hit the same spot every time if you shoot it the same way. So yeah, but there's a lot of I don't know. It seems like that industry. Yeah, I don't know if it's marketing or what, but there's a lot of information out there to try to tell you it's going to fix you if you do this or do that or change this or change that or do it this way or do it that way. It's that was a learning curve for me. It's like no, it doesn't matter. Just do the same thing every time. You know?
Yeah, when you're trying to solve a problem on your own and then you watch a video and they're telling you how to do something, but it may not be your problem. And then now
Absolutely.
you're changing based on what they're saying, and that's not what you needed. So that's where you want to get somebody, like me, it's been coaching for a while, and look at your shooting form, and that's why I offer that as a service in the group, our Stuck One
Right.
Facebook group. Take a video of you shooting and upload
Yeah.
it, and there's instructors out there that can look at them and see what's going on with them, and sometimes it's just a little subtle little change that you can make, and that makes a big difference. Pea pipe, just um, I actually watched a little video from um, Paige Pierce.
Hmm.
She was talking about here's where it should be, but yet when we put it there, it didn't work. It had to be in a little different spot, and it's just a little variation of a peep can make a difference on how well you shoot.
Absolutely.
And but if you don't have a consistent anchor point, your form isn't everything, shot isn't perfect, you're not going to know that if it's you or it's the bow. And you can take a bow that's got a nasty tear in it, then give it to somebody that has a different form, and it shoots perfectly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
I've been learning that. Yeah. So like I said, when you're trying to do it on your own, as I have been, there's a lot of misinformation out there, or a lot of you know this works for one person, this, and then so you go changing everything, trying to figure it out yourself. But yeah, I think what you're doing with the asking people to record themselves, and um, I'm gonna try it here soon. I didn't know you were doing that, but
yeah, yeah.
yeah, I mean it's nice because like now that I've got to be able to shoot with a couple pros, um, I haven't actually got them to coach me yet, but I've learned a lot by listening to them. And like the one consistent thing I see is like you got to work on yourself and do the same exact thing every time. It's I feel like archery is one of the only things the more you do it, the worse you can get at it.
Yeah.
you know, and that's why I like it. It's a challenge.
Well, if you have a bad form and you practice bad form, you get better to bad form.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, yeah. So, absolutely. So, I had to quit listening to everybody and start, working on that. That's kind of where I'm at right now. My equipment's good. So yeah, working on me, and it's going pretty well. It's going pretty well.
Yeah, and like I was saying, somebody that's like you that's just starting back into it, and so many things have changed. The bows are different. We've learned a lot on how to shoot better. I know when I was first starting in it, a 300, yeah, you're not shooting 300s.
No.
You might shoot a 295, 298, 299. If you shoot a 299, you're the top of the class. Well,
Hmm.
now, if you don't shoot a 300, you're not even close.
You're not even getting in it. Yeah, you're not
Yeah,
even competing.
you,
So,
you,
do you think those guys back in the day, like back when they had their older stuff, like Rio Wild or Dave Cousins or any of them, like, do you think if they had our equipment today, wouldn't they just have been shooting 300s all the time? I mean, those guys were talented. They didn't have the information we have now. They didn't have the equipment we have now, and they were shooting. What do you think about that? Like,
Well, there's a lot to be said to the newer equipment. Some of the really old stuff, like in the 70s and mid 70s when the bows were first coming out in compounds. Um, you know, they weren't really available until then, and the Bear Whitetail 2 was one that had a bunch of steel cables on it, and
yeah,
change something. You move a cable from one pin to another pin, and they weren't as engineered as well uh, compared to today's standards. Of course, you look how the Model T was made as opposed to the new ones. No, let's go back to the Model T. It had a better quality materials in it, and they built up
right,
to last. But
right.
um, so not really a good comparison. But if
No,
you
right.
have if you
Archery
have
equipment.
if you have equipment that's pretty decent, all the bows nowadays are there's not a lot of difference in them as far
Mm-mm.
as quality and materials. They're all made to the same standards, basically. Some of the older bows weren't. There was a lot of variations in them. Just the way they were set up, the design just wasn't allowed for super consistency. And then part of the technique, if you're just, like the old fingers, they used to teach just open your fingers, just open them up.
Right.
That's how when I first started in the 60s, that's basically what they do, just kind of open your fingers.
No
Well,
release.
yeah, now it's taught completely different, where you bring it there and basically on the fingers, you're rotating your hand around your face. You're pulling it around, using more of your back muscles to shoot. A lot of the old archers in compounds and everything else had shoulder problems because they're pushing that shoulder out and pushing it up to try and get as long a draw length as you can, and that's putting strain on your shoulders. Well, now
Right,
we've learned that you need to drop that shoulder down, put a little more bend in that arm, and now you don't have the shoulder problems because you're not putting pressure on it, unless you're drawing way too much weight, and then you're just asking for troubles.
right,
Um,
right,
you know,
right.
what I tell archers, if you're struggling to pull that bow back, crank it down. If you can't crank
Right.
it down any lower, well, you're going to have to make the draw weight go less.
Yeah, get new
And
land mods or whatever you need. Yeah.
yeah, you can get new limbs, or back when I was doing all the time, you could change the string length and the cables.
Well, back then you guys didn't have a way to change your like let off and stuff, did you? Like it,
No,
because I remember
no.
my first bow was an Eagle Predator, and there's a zero let off, no fibers in the pins. But I remember just being so. And now, like you can change everything, to make it simpler for you. And I don't know. I don't know if the archers have gotten better. I think maybe I don't. I think the equipment's gotten better, and
But
but
there's
it's
a
really hard to
yeah,
compete now because,
yeah,
like you said, you can't
there's a
miss.
lot better in just the form, the physical aspects of it. They've developed a lot more thing they can go through and analyze, physically what your body goes through. It's slow motion cameras. You can see what's happening in your body
Right.
and see what's going on. And there's a lot of different things that go on. One of the biggest things when I find somebody who's an archer and it's like, oh, do you shoot a handheld or a wrist strap for release? And they said, yeah. And I said, well, I'll give you first lesson free. Quit pulling the trigger.
You're right. Punching. Yes.
Yeah, quit pulling the trigger. That's your first mistake with a wrist strap release is pulling the trigger. The
Right. Done.
trigger's too far out, cause you to be off the tip of your finger. And now what do you do? Because aiming, you have to think about your finger to make the trigger move, right? So as you're thinking
Yeah.
about the finger to make it move, what are you not doing?
Aiming.
Aiming. You can't do
Absolutely.
them both. So you have to stop aiming in order to cram on that trigger. And I've seen, some of the videos of these guys that have the hunting shows. And I looked at it, so they're going to cram on that trigger. And sure enough, they out there and that finger's up there and they just yank on it as hard as they can. And
I don't feel it's comparable because they're trying to compare precision like rifle shooting to shooting a bow. I mean, I may be wrong. I don't know much, but like I've done a lot of rifle shooting and I'm pretty good at it. It's just boring to me. um, because there's not as many variables. But like, I don't feel like it's comparable. It's a totally different thing.
Yes.
You know, the way you think about aiming, you know, because everything's holding still at that point. You know, a lot more compared to pulling back a bow, and I just feel like that motion of the trigger and the way they're explaining it now about focus on your trigger pull, and I just feel like it's not comparable. It's different. I don't know. There's a lot of different theories out there, and it confused the crap out of me sometimes
Yeah.
listening to all of them.
Well,
Makes sense.
I've kind of done both. In high school, I was on a rifle team, so we did
Yeah.
precision shooting. We're
Okay.
shooting at 50 foot at a 10 ring target. The 9 ring is the diameter of the 22. We're shooting 22 rifles,
Right.
and there's a dot in the center of it. You take a straight pin and push it in the center of it, and the head of the safety pin that's used like in sewing stuff like that will cover the 10 ring.
Right.
So if you're off by more than half the distance of the bullet, which is, instead of being 22 thousandths, it's 11 thousandths. If you're off by 11 thousandths, you might still catch it, but if you're off by 12 thousandths of an inch, you got 9 points.
Okay.
And the way you shoot a rifle for precision or long distance shooting is, the way we would do it is we would get in our position. I said we're shooting in prone or kneeling or standing is the three position we used. You'd get in prone, you'd close your eyes, take a deep breath, let it out, open your eyes. Are you on target? No. Well, move your body. Do it again until you breathe in, breathe out, eyes closed, open them up, you're still on target. Next time you breathe in, breathe out, and squeeze the trigger. Now, the only fine motor skill you need in that is squeezing the trigger.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. The variables that I was talking about.
Now, when you get into archery, you can still do the same thing, draw back, eyes closed, open your eyes, and move your body a little bit until you get to a spot. And now then you put your finger on the trigger. I'm talking with a handheld or a caliper release, mostly caliper release, because that's what all beginners start with. And you use the second knuckle, not the tip of the finger that moved back. That second knuckle should be on the trigger. So now what you do is you aim your fine motor skill. Now you put your hand on your trigger and you start squeezing with your non-fine motor skill muscles, your back muscles, and you just aim while you're squeezing, aim, 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 and then it goes off. So where you need the fine motor skills changes from the finger
Absolutely.
to your holding arm.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But and it's I don't know. I feel like some of the guys out there now teaching ways to shoot. They're not. I tried it for a while. Me personally, it's just how it worked for me was. I felt like ignoring my aim caused more problems because some of these guys out here are teaching now just let it float. You know what I mean? Does that make sense? I just let it float. Trust the float. Focus on your release. I feel like I had to focus on both. You know what I mean? I still had to focus on my aim. Like I feel like I can't ignore my aim as much. But some people, that's how it works for them. It seems like
Yeah.
they. I don't know. That's one that's kind of confusing me here
Well,
lately.
generally, what you want to do is look at where you want the arrow to go. Nothing else matters if you're not looking where the arrow to go. Don't look at your pins because now you're aiming at your pins. They're
Right,
moving
right,
wherever. Who cares? Because
right.
you're aiming at the pins. You're not going to aim at the target. So what you do is your focus is 100% on the target, the spot you want it to go. Now you're going to hold that pin. It's going to move, but you
Right,
kind of basically ignore the pin moving because it's going to move around. If you
right.
try and watch the pin, now what are you not aiming at? You're aiming at the pin at not the target. So aim at the target. Then you go through, put your hand on release, or if you're using a handheld, you start your motion, whatever. So
Mhm.
now you start the big muscles, getting ready to fire it, and now you just concentrate on the spot you want it to go. Concentrate, 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 and then it's going to go off. And don't watch the pin because that's going to cause you problems. Now,
Right,
here's how you get target panic. You watch the pin moving over your target, and you you see the pin going across it, and you try and time it. Now you're slamming on the trigger to do that timing.
Yep.
So now then what happens is you your eyes and your mind and your finger are three different things trying to time themselves together.
Mm-hmm.
Not easy to do. So what
Not
you're doing is you're
a,
watching the pin, it goes over the target you want, and your mind says shoot. And so now you start to pull the trigger that moves off, and all your mind says, don't shoot. And that's that big
yeah.
jerk.
Yeah. Isn't
That's
that crazy?
target panic. If
Yes.
you if you pull the trigger and you're watching the pin move, you're going to have target panic.
Mm-hmm.
You
Mm-hmm.
may not now, but you're going to get target panic because now all of a
That's
sudden you just like, oh, pin's off. Ignore what the pin does. Start your process. Only focus on where you want the arrow to go and let
right.
that pin float over it. And if it's not floating where it needs to be, change your body or something. You might need to move your foot a little closer, or you might need to move it out.
It can be
I
right. It can
I teach a
be
completely closed
whatever.
stance.
Close stance.
Yeah, completely closed stance because I want that hand to go straight to the target. So when I shoot, that index, because I'm holding it, well, it's actually just resting on my hand going through from the index finger to thumb through the lifeline in between the two pads on your hand. So
Yeah.
that's pushing. So I'm pushing with that part of your hand. And those of you that know martial arts, if you know what a heel palm strike is, that's the part we're pushing the bow with. Because that's the part, those that don't, you take your hand, you turn your wrist back, and then there's the pad by the little finger and the pad by the thumb. Either one of those, if you push on them, it turns your hand. So if you push one way, your hand wants to turn. If you push right in that middle, you feel just a little bit. You can try that. Bring your hand up and push on the one pad. You feel your hand wants to turn. The other one wants to turn the other way. Put in the middle, and you feel it in your shoulder. Clear all that force goes right in through, clear up to the shoulder, where the one wants to twist the hand. So if you're pushing that part, that is the most efficient way to push. And now then, once you shoot, that hand is going to go straight to your target. Now, if you don't have that right grip and you do close stance like I teach, you're going to be smacking your arm all the time. So you got to make sure you have that. And the process of doing that, for those that are watching, is you've got the grip on here and then look at the arm moves. As soon as you turn the hand this way, elbow moves out, watch the elbow move out, and now slight bend. Now when you shoot, the hand goes straight to your target. And one of the things that you can do that I've done, I've talked to this a few times before, is take a string that you can use your release on, make a loop that fits around your thumb, and make it the draw length of your bow. So now you draw back the same draw length. And now what you want to do is push with your hand like you're shooting, go through, put the pressure on it, and go through and fire your release. And that string should jump straight off your hand towards the target. If it doesn't, your form is off. Now, a lot of times they'll teach beginners a little bit more open stance because that moves that arm away so you're not hitting your arm as much because it's hard to get people to get that concept of you're not grabbing. A lot of people like to grab it and you can't grab it. You got to have a little bit off to the side. And now if you have an open stance, that automatically puts that arm more out of the way. Um, so that's times you'll do that to beginners just so they get a chance of shooting because sometimes at some events, we're teaching how to shoot and we've got maybe 45 minutes to teach how to shoot and let you shoot and have fun. So we don't get into quite as picky. But if I'm selling you a bow, I'm going to teach you the correct way to do it because I've got time to do that, and I want to make sure you're shooting good. And that's just one of the things that having a coach that knows what's going on definitely helps. Um, and like I said earlier, take a video with your camera and upload it to the Archery Talk 101 Facebook group. Of course, you have to join to be able to do it. It's a private group, but uh, go ahead and upload that video and put a little description of what your problem is, and we'll take a look at it. And I have video editor that I use when I create my YouTube videos. I can frame advance through those. It's not like when I first started. They were recorded. You either watch it or record it on a VCR tape. And that's a little bit more involved because now then you have to shoot multiple times. Uh, yeah. Brian's phone kind of overheated. He was outside. Yeah, he may join once his phone cools off again a little bit. But um, yeah, that's one of the things that, you know, as a beginner, ask for help. There's a lot of resources out there. And like we talked about earlier, you can go out and you can watch lots and lots of videos on YouTube. And are they helping you or not helping you? You don't know. That's where, it's kind of nice to have somebody that you can talk to and work with. And, we'll just go through and, join a group, get up there, upload the videos. Um, Now, we're not going to go through, every day for weeks and weeks critiquing your form, but we can definitely give you some pointers. It looks like he's back, still muted. Should be a little bit
Oh,
cooler.
God. I told you it was hot here. Um, I was sitting outside, my phone overheated, so
Yeah,
I had to come inside. All right.
I've done that trying to create videos for my YouTube channel and outside, and it just gets hot and it shuts off, and then you gotta let it cool off, and then or get a different camera, and then
I just learned that. I, this is I don't do this much, so yeah, I just learned that. So watch
yeah.
the temperature, people.
Yeah, get a fan blowing on it, or do it in the evening. But that's not
Anyway,
always an option.
we were at Target Panic and um, the float and watching the float. But I mean, the point I was getting at was, I guess I don't know. It's weird because I feel like you have to check your peep and housing alignment on your scope and look back and forth a couple times, and then so you're saying after that, after we get on point, the next step is just stare at the target where you're shooting.
Right.
Correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Once you come back, where you draw back, you get your anchor point, everything is good, and now just start looking at the target and go through there. Don't trying to adjust anything. Once you draw back, if you start pressure on a release, once you start pressure on a release, whether it's the finger type or the handheld or whatever you have, once you start, if you're more than 5 seconds, let down, start over because something's wrong. At that
Right.
point, it's like, okay, now I've got it's I got to shoot it, and then you have to start pulling the trigger, and the next thing you know, you're teaching yourself how to have target panic.
Well, I have noticed my as far as shot timing, my faster shots overall seem to be the ones that hit more than, like you said, when I end up holding too long, trying to fight that dot onto that pin onto the target. You know, um, that makes a lot of sense. Makes a whole lot of sense.
Yeah, it's like 3 to 5 seconds. It
Yeah.
should be going off. If not, next thing you know, you're trying to struggle with whatever you're doing, and it just doesn't work as well.
And I've been playing with that and trying to, maybe I'm shooting too fast. Maybe I'm shooting too fast, but no, like you're absolutely right. It seems like the ones I shoot, the ones I come to anchor, get my pin on the target, and then just work through the release right then. They seem to be more accurate. Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
it's almost like the longer you aim, the harder it is to aim because now then you've got all that tension in pushing the bow forward. You got the tension in the arm pulling back, and now at some point you're going to start getting tired and start getting shaky. Just like, when you're out hunting, you may not have an option. You may have to hold. But now then what you're holding and you're doing a holding, you're not trying to aim, you're just trying to hold. And then once the deer presents the kill zone where you want, now then you put the pin on it, and now then you concentrate on where you want the arrow to go, and then you start your shot process. The rest is just trying to, you know, wait until you can start that aiming and shot process.
and realistically, hunting, you have an 8-inch target versus this
Yeah.
competitive archery where you're trying to hit centimeters. You know what I mean? So yeah, absolutely. You can float a little more there.
Yeah.
Um, but no, that makes a lot of sense. And I mean, that's kind of the difference in shooting a rifle. I feel like when I shoot a rifle, I can take all the time in the world to wait on those crosshairs to settle. You can't when you're holding back 18 pounds and standing up. And, you know, it's different. It's different. But a lot of people say it's the same. It really, I guess the mental game is the same. What would you say? Um, as far as relaxing, I hate that word mental game, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, well, it is a mental game, but
Yeah, yeah, but I mean, like the whole mental process, I guess, is similar, but the physics and the way you have to aim and, like you said, the faster shots seem to hit better. Honestly, that makes sense. I've been thinking about that a lot lately.
yeah, because once you start aiming, and you only got so much time before your concentration starts breaking on aiming. How long can you aim at a target before you can't concentrate on aiming anymore?
Right.
And that's why if you have to wait on a deer to clear, you're not aiming. You're watching the deer. You're not even looking at your pins. You're at
Okay.
full draw. You're watching the
Okay.
deer to see what's going on. So you're not even aiming yet. So now once it
Mhm.
steps out, now then you move whatever you got to move into, and now you're going to start your aiming. And then once you get that, you still got that same 3 to 5 seconds before it should go off
Right.
because you
Okay.
started it because you're not aiming anymore until they
And
present the kill zone to you. You
okay.
know,
Okay. Yes. Yeah. And then yeah, it's totally different hunting and target archery. Really. Um, to me, I don't know. I've had good luck hunting though. Honestly. The other thing about deer hunting is the getting close. I feel like there's like three things that have to go right. First, you have to see the deer.
right?
Then you have to shoot the deer. And then you have to find the deer. You know what I mean? Like, hunting's a whole nother thing. But I've gotten lucky. I've never got one further out than like I think 23 yards is the longest shot I've ever taken on a deer. Um, but my shot placement has always been good. Um, to me, though, getting in front of a big crowd and shooting target archery is almost the same uh, adrenaline boost or pressure. You know what I mean? Um, does that matter? I mean, there's a little difference with a deer because you're about to take a life, and
Right.
you don't have to shoot it. You know what I mean? I've passed a lot because man, it doesn't feel right, or I'm not aiming right, or you know, earlier on when the bows are a lot worse. It's cold, and I couldn't even draw my bow back a couple times. you know,
Been there.
but like I don't have to shoot this deer. Well, then you're out there on a range or you know, on the line shooting targets. It's like, well, I have to shoot this thing. You know what I mean? It's two different kinds of pressure, but to me, they bring my blood pressure to the same level. I feel like the nerves. Does that make
Yeah.
sense?
Yeah. It makes sense. When you're looking at the difference between the stress levels, it's a different stress, but it still has the same effect on your body.
Absolutely, absolutely. Hmm. Yeah. So, do you coach a lot online or in person or what? What?
Not a lot right now. I've got I help out at the Nebraska Game and Parks. They have some events, and I help coach there at some of those events. Volunteer. They use a lot of volunteers, and I'll give pointers on online. Um, I have taught online before. I got a couple guys that I've done, and they're not even in the United States, and I coached them.
Oh wow. Okay. Okay. What
One
country?
one was Italy, and one was Canada.
Oh wow. Canada. Okay. Okay. Well, there's some good shooters from Canada. Um, I know in
But
the ASA for sure. Um,
and that what really is nice online is because we do it like on a Zoom call, like we're doing here. But
yeah.
we do some videos before and whatnot, and then I critique them and give you pointers and do it live. Uh, Best if I'm standing next to you, and recording them and then going through them. But next to that, doing them on a Zoom call is good because then I can watch you shoot and do, work with it that way. And um,
It's
if you
cool.
don't have a coach handy that's close to you, you may not have a coach within, 300 miles. And how often are you going to drive up to see the coach? Because they're not going to come to you. That
I
would
got
be
a
kind of expensive, but
couple of guys willing to coach me, but they I mean, you got to watch that. You got to watch who coaches you, and
right.
um, so I just try to surround myself with people who I feel like shoot as good as me or better, guys who used to shoot better, and I just try to pick up pointers. It's really hard. Like I said, in the beginning, I had to learn that lesson of stay off of YouTube and quit listening to a lot of the things people say on there because you know um, it's really weird because you really don't have a lot of actual pros putting information out. You got guys regurgitating other stuff they heard from the guys on YouTube, or you know, um, or a lot of people with coaching experience. I don't know. It's hard, but like there's so much information out there right now. I feel like um, it's doable. I just need to ignore half of it, take some of it, and keep
Yeah.
shooting. Right? Does that make sense?
Well, and the way I teach everybody to start with the exact same way that I do it, and then we modify it
Formal,
based on that person, because
formal.
how I do it may work for you, may not. But that's where the good coach come in is going to say, here's do this. If this not working, what do we got to change? To change, got to change this, got to change that. And um, I had one guy that couldn't grip the bow like I recommend because of an injury. Um, I had one guy
Right.
when I had my store, probably 25 years ago, had MS. He could not put a bend in that arm. He had to lock the arm out, or he couldn't hold it because when he abandoned the muscles, it just shake all over the place. So we had to lock that out, and we had to do whatever we needed to do to get him to shoot a consistent form with the arm locked out. And you see, a lot of them now they're teaching locking the arm out. The only problem with locking an arm out, when you lock it out, you have a tendency to push the shoulder up. Then you push the
Yeah.
shoulder up, you have shoulder problems. So you got to have a little bend to drop those shoulders down. But when you're shooting with a handicap of some kind, some physical challenge that you're going through, there's just ways to figure it out. Um,
So what about the guy with the grip problem? Um,
well,
what was the
because the
solution?
because the hand wouldn't bend as far as it needed to, so we had because it's still kind of pushing the same type of a deal because
You know,
if you have your hand in that position, it moves back and forth. Well, if your hand's back as far as it will go, it's not going to move. So you can still do this the same type of a deal, except being directly into the joint. It might be up above a little bit because you can't get that, might not bend that far. So you just go look at that.
so
Um, you know,
originally, do you teach high wrist, low
no,
wrist?
no.
Well,
The problem with the high wrist is your wrist is still going to move. I tried it for a while, and
mhm.
it was not easy to be consistent
It doesn't,
because
yeah,
because you got too much movement up and down of the wrist. Well,
right.
with the wrist all the way down, pushing with that lower part, like I described earlier, between the pushes right straight through the arm, that is going to be your most efficient way to do it because it doesn't move. As you move your fingers, that doesn't move. If you put over here, as you move, you're going to feel every time you move your finger. If you
Okay.
put it up a little bit different, every time you move, open and close your hand, it's going to change. Where there, very little will affect it. Um, and then you'll see some that's like, okay, don't grip the bow. First thing they do is straighten the hand out as far as they can. Well,
Yeah,
now
yeah,
that
yeah,
that's
yeah.
almost as bad as gripping it.
I went down that road for a minute. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It is.
And
It is.
honestly, the best way to do is just stand with your hands down at your side, raise your arm straight up to the side, bend your wrist, because that puts it in that position down the side. You come up, it comes up like this, bend up. And now, what are you pushing with? you're pushing with this part of your hand like you're supposed to. As soon as
Yeah.
that comes up, and now you bend that wrist, that arm is going to be the side because you're going to bring it straight up to your side and push that up, push that arm out a little bit, and that's the easiest way to figure out what your grip is.
That's pretty much
And
exactly what I've been doing. Yeah, that
yeah,
that that makes sense. Yeah,
and
I struggled with grip for a while. I think I'm getting it.
and I always use a sling on my bows because I don't hang on to them. And the older bows would jump out of your hand if you didn't have somebody
Yes,
to keep them from doing it
yes.
because they'll jump and hit your fingers. I actually had a bow. I was shooting it at the range many years ago when I worked at the shop, and there wasn't a sling on it. I didn't think about it, and then when I shot, it jumped forward and it smacked into my fingers, and it's like I had to grab it because it
It's
just
so,
jumped forward right into my fingers. It's an older
so
bow. The
you
limbs are, more straight up and down.
these
Uh,
wrist sling or the
oh yeah, I always do. Yeah,
yeah. I
because if I didn't have one, I'd shoot my bow being on the ground
yeah,
every time
yeah,
because I don't hang
yeah.
on to them.
The old bows, but I put my middle finger on the front of the riser is what I've been doing now, and a little bit of the index, just enough. Like in this, I try to do it in the same exact spot every time, and it keeps the grip where I want it on my hand. But I feel like sometimes doing that, like especially in a high pressure situation, like a competition or something, I feel like I grab at that bow after it goes off. I'm not sure if that messes my shot up or not, but I feel like,
It will.
yeah, yeah, that might be another battle of mine. to, you know.
But try putting a sling on. Now you don't want the sling so tight it puts pressure on your hand.
Yeah, because I tried that and it kind of messed up my wrist position with the
Right.
sling.
You want it completely loose so that you can put your hand in. It's just enough so that it hits your hand. Now, if you don't want to have a sling on your bow, they got those ones that go between the finger and the next finger, just
I
a
bought
little
one of
loop,
those. I bought
and,
one
and
that,
then and then that works as well too because you have your hand completely relaxed and it can't fall.
I have one. It's been in a pocket in my quiver since I bought it. I haven't tried it.
Oh,
um, but yeah, maybe, and that'll also help you repeat your finger placement
well, then you
on the
don't touch
phone.
your bow at all with your fingertips.
Really?
The only pressure you want is on that one spot I talked about on there. Just
Right.
let the fingers relax
But
because
where do you put that index and middle
just
finger?
let them hang out there.
Okay.
Anytime you use muscles to move your finger,
Mm-hmm.
you're putting tension somewhere. And
Yeah.
when you shoot, that tension's going to change. Where if you have a completely relaxed hand, so that you can take your fingers and just no tension, just completely relaxed. No gripping, no nothing on there, just pushing. And if you're just pushing when that goes off, just relax. Let that hand go forward. Your fingers should stay where they're at. Don't grab the bow. Now, once it's hanging down, off your sling, then you grab it. Now, I see a lot of the Olympic archers, when they shoot, that wrist points down. Watch some of
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
Olympic, the
Yeah. I know
traditional art
exactly.
bows. When they shoot, they have a little bit more straight arm, but when they shoot, that hand goes a little bit forward and drops down. Because as you're like this and shoot, when it goes forward, it's kind of naturally going to drop down. And that's what they're doing. They're letting that bow do what it wants to do. Because, like we talked about earlier, the bow is going to do the same thing every time,
Right.
unless
Right.
unless you interfere with it. So you take a compound bow, one arrow in a shooting machine, and that arrow is going to put the same arrow in the same hole every time.
Yeah. But you got to become a shooting machine. Is the thing
Right.
to, you know.
Now, if you have like six arrows, they may not hit an exact same spot
Yeah,
because your
right.
fletchings might be a little different and stuff like that. Or clearance, your knock alignment, and
But
um,
what's your I mean, that's a good topic. What's your opinion on fletching and point weight? And do you have a formula that you?
um, it works. Keep doing it.
All right. Okay. If it groups well, keep doing it. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
There's a
there's
lot of
there's
that.
there's a whole lot of stuff going on.
A lot of
Um, there's
trends.
a lot of stuff, and some use veins, some use feathers, some are the little bitty short ones. There's a difference between this vein and that vein. And
Go
one
off.
of the guys I interviewed here on my podcast just a couple times ago, which isn't released out yet, but you can watch it in the Archtalk Facebook group. You can watch it there. And he went through and he does a lot of testing of stuff, and
Mhm.
one set of veins versus another set of veins, and then talked about the front of center, and then your weights and all kinds of stuff. There's a whole bunch of technical stuff in there.
You think it
Um,
matters that much?
um, we're shooting 20 yards.
Okay,
No,
yeah, indoors, indoors. Yeah,
yeah, but we're shooting 20 yards or under. Unless
50.
you're doing, the great big long ones. When we're hunting, that's mostly 20 yards or less. When
Yeah,
you put broadheads on, it
absolutely.
all changes anyway.
Yes, yes, yes.
So
Um,
uh, I shoot a carbon arrow, PSE when they was making arrows. I still use those, and I'll probably use those the rest of my life because I
yes,
got plenty of them.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, yeah. Back about 20 years ago when I had my store, I was a PSE dealer, and they had their carbon force arrows.
Carbon
And there
foil.
was a,
Okay.
yeah,
Wow.
and they were made specially by an aerospace company to get the specs they wanted. When I was talking to one of the PSE reps,
Right.
they don't do those anymore. They just concentrate more on bows. But those were really good shafts. And if you get a good quality carbon shaft, uh, get the 1000 straightness. You don't bother with the other ones. And if you're a beginner, then we'll talk about, getting the lower tolerance
Yeah.
ones.
Yeah.
But if you want to have your best groups, get your straighter shafts.
Right.
And
Absolutely.
I shoot 4-inch feathers, 100 grain tip, and
100. Yeah.
yeah, and 29 and a half inch long arrow.
Hmm.
And
So,
and it I've got my broadheads tuned on my hunting bow that I can shoot X's with my broadheads.
right, right. That's a whole different ball game there is getting your broadheads to tune, depending on, especially if you use fixed blade, I found out. But another thing I've switched and was battling with is I went back to a blade rest instead of the dropaways, which are kind of what everybody's doing now is the limb driven drop away rest. Um, I went back to a blade rest because there again I feel like it does the same thing every time. Um, how do you feel about different rests on a compound?
If you're confident with it, that's what you want to go with. I've got my hunting bow has just a one with two prongs on it. I have everything set up to shoot off those just fine. On my other bow I use for target, I got a drop away on it.
Do you? Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Now, a drop away set up correctly
That's the
is going
hard
to be
part.
better. You got to go to somebody that knows how to set up a drop away rest.
That's the thing. That's the hard part. So that's probably why I switched back to a blade because it does the same thing every time. If you three fletch it, you won't get any clearance issues. But yeah, that's the thing, and that's the thing, and that you have to have them set just right. You know what I mean? Any mechanical thing like that, you have to have set just right, and that's hard to figure out how to do by yourself because you'll listen to five different people and they'll tell you five different ways to do it. And then
Right.
so you wait all that time switching it five times when you really should have just been shooting and practicing with that time you had. You know?
Well, even the regular type rests that not the dropaways, they have to be set up correctly or they don't work very good either.
Right.
You got to have them set up so that you have clearance between your fletching.
And right.
That's the thing. You've got to have clearance so that your fletching does not hit one of
Right.
the prongs on it when it goes through. Um, that one thing about the biscuit is it has 100% contact with all your fletching, but
Yes.
that's
Yeah.
also the disadvantage of it because it noisier and it slows it down,
Yeah. I started with
and
the
it can
biscuit.
it can deform your fletchings as well
I noticed
because
absolutely past, 30 or 40 yards, the biscuit just, you know, for hunting, I guess, if you're 20 yards, it didn't seem to, but yeah, the biscuit really just every arrow would fly different out of it just because I guess the way it hit the, the whiskers on it. Um, yeah, that's the stuff I've been playing with, still trying to learn. Um, I feel like I'm shooting good and I'm excited about, what's coming up. So, but yeah, I have a lot to learn and, it's hard to learn today. I think there's too much information a lot of
There,
times.
definitely there can be,
Yeah.
just in tying in loops, I've seen, it's like, oh, this is how you tie in a loop. No, it's
Yeah.
not. No,
Yeah.
it's not. And
Um,
I can show you why you're tying it in wrong. A lot of them like to put a knot underneath their arrow. Use the
soft
loop
knot,
for one, and
a
then put
soft
a
knot.
knot, soft knot underneath it, and then put your loop on it. It's like, no, you're not getting the best arrow flight. Guaranteed, you're not. Now, if you're
Okay.
going to put a soft knot, you got to put two, one above, one below. And
Okay.
I don't use any at all. I've never had a problem with it because one, the way I put them on, they're not. You don't untie them. You cannot untie them.
You cinch them down real good, right?
They're cinched down. They're not moving, and there's no play in the knock because you don't need any play in it. You don't have to worry about pinching the knock because no matter how short it is, that loop is going to pull above and below the knock. And uh, you know, if you're going to take any of my loops off, you cut them.
Yeah. So it's interesting you say that. That's interesting. So no soft knocks because I bought a used target bow, right? Um, it had a D loop on it with no soft knots, no soft knocking points, right? So it was just a D loop like you're talking about. And I left it like that because I was waiting on new strings to get built, right?
Yeah,
So I shot it like that without the knock points. And I feel like I shot it really well. So then I get my new strings, right? So everything changes. So I got to retune my bow and set everything up. And I put soft knocks. I put one on the bottom, is what I got. And I honestly have been wondering that. I've been feeling like just the straight D loop cinched down because it was whoever did it, they cinched it down really good, which I can do. But I felt like I had a little more accuracy with that. So that's interesting. Hmm, hmm. Could you elaborate on the reason, like the just one bottom knocking point doesn't?
yeah.
Okay.
The easiest way to explain it is to take a pencil, set on your table,
Okay.
align your finger at the eraser, and
Okay.
push your finger straight to the tip of the pencil.
Push it down, and the end of the pencil comes up.
Well, don't push down, not push behind it so that you're
Oh,
pushing it forward like you do an arrow.
I understand. I
So
understand.
get behind it and push straight
Okay.
towards from the eraser to the
Right.
tip of the pencil. Which way does the pencil go? It goes straight, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, if you have a soft knot on there, now instead of being right centered in there, move your finger up. So now you're pushing on the side of your finger. Now push that pencil. What's it do? It
That's
starts
in,
twisting. Starts twisting,
that,
doesn't it?
that's interesting.
That's
Hmm.
why you don't want one. You either want two or you want none.
Okay. What,
Now,
do you feel none's better? Because
yep.
if you take the pliers and cinch your D loop down, it's not moving. Like you said, you have to
No.
cut it off. It's not moving at all.
Now,
So,
one trick that you can use or tip is take your string wax and wax the ends of those strings before you tie them on that loop.
mhm.
Once you get both the knots burned on the ends of it, wax that string. So now when you tie it, it gets tighter. And then what I do is, once you got where you're going to put your knock on your bow, so
So
if
the
you got
waxing,
that,
sorry, the
make it get
waxing,
tighter.
really?
Make the knot get tighter. And then Once you
Okay.
get them cinched down, then put like an Allen wrench or something in there and grab the string with the arrow in between them and pull. Because if you pull it out, they're going to go together and you're not going to get your knock in. So put your knock
Right.
in there and pull. There's zero play on your knock up and down the string. And now then take your pliers and squeeze the knots and pull. And you'd be amazed at how tight those get.
Oh yeah, yeah,
And
I can get them tight, but the soft knocks, the points is what I've been wondering, and that's like a big debate now. Like I said, you listen to some people, they say put two, some people say put one on the bottom. Um, I really don't think I've heard many people say just don't put them on there. And like I said, that bow I had that didn't have them on there, the string I had that didn't have them on there, I felt like it was, you know, a little more accurate. That's interesting. That's
and
interesting.
now you just proved yourself why you don't want one.
Yeah, yeah. You got me probably gonna cut my D loop off after this podcast. That makes a
Now,
lot of
what
sense.
I would do is, where that knock is supposed to be the top one because you got one on the bottom. I'd cut
Yeah,
just the top knot off only. Don't cut both
I
of them
did that.
off.
That's where I'm at now. That's where I'm at now.
Cut and tie that top knot, and now then cut the bottom off. Take your soft knot off, and now you can put your bottom knot for your loop there, and then pull it tight. Now you're going to have to make that loop a little shorter.
Right, right.
I have one end burned on. I have a big roll. And
Yeah.
I burn one end, you flatten it out, and then I mark out 4.5 inches, and that's where I cut it. And then I kind of, tap on the end, fray it out, burn it, flatten it out. So that's how long I cut all my loops.
So how long of a loop do you end up with? Like half inch?
Well, when you first tie the knot, you're
Well, yeah, I
lucky to
know
be,
that. It
you have the knock on there, you're lucky to get an Allen wrench in there to pull it. But once it gets
right.
going,
I've
it's
learned that. I've
probably
learned
3/8 of an inch of a gap after the back of the knock.
Okay. Okay. So it's pretty
Enough that
small.
you, yeah, enough to get your release on. You don't
Right.
need it
Right.
any longer unless you need that because of where your
The anchor
bow,
point.
maybe you need to change your point back slightly. You can make your loop a little bit longer and not your bow, because maybe
I've heard some
that's
guys
where it needs to
talk
be.
about, with a handheld release, when you turn up, right?
Right.
That if your loop is too short, it's gonna put a twist in that string. And
When
I
I
just
when
don't
I
feel
shoot my
like that. I
handheld,
don't feel like that's true. I don't feel like it does that. Because I've
I,
pulled it back enough and turned, and my string is fine with a short loop. And so some people, a lot of target archers are like, you need a long loop. Uh, is that, what do
I
you
I shoot a
think?
handheld. I
Hmm.
shoot the Carter Chocolate Addiction,
Oh, cool.
and I've shot that style of release for 20 plus years with a 4.5 inch knot, a loop to start with.
Now, is that the two fingerish Carter?
No, it's a 3 finger one.
Mhm. Okay,
But I
okay.
draw back and I have my hand turned up. So the loop is, pointing up and down. By the time I draw
Yeah,
back, it
good
turns
turn.
90 degrees. It's turned about
Absolutely,
90 degrees. And it's just
absolutely.
fine because it's just consistent every time. Now, if you draw back, sometimes have your hand this way and that way, it might
Okay.
change it. But
Yeah.
I switch between that and I have a Scott release that goes on my wrist that has just a little hook that goes in, opens up. I don't have any jaws that actually hook around it except the
Yeah.
Carter. And now that doesn't twist that loop.
It doesn't, does it?
No, it doesn't twist it
That's
at all.
I
But
don't feel like
I anchor basically in the same spot. When I use my handheld, my hand just rotates around. I can't put my index knuckle, punching knuckle, in that pocket behind my ear, my jaw between my ear and there's a little spot back there. That's
yeah,
your pressure point. But
that's
that's where I put it with the one. With the other one, I turn my hand over because I have a peep and a kisser button. So between the
yeah.
peep and the kisser button, if those two are lined up and I'm see through my peep, I'm good no matter what this hand does. It can be down, up, it can be in any position because it doesn't matter, because what my hand does is only against my face, and it's just a different spot on my face that I'm putting my hand.
So what happened to the kisser button? So I remember a lot of the old archers I used to watch, good like I believe Rio Wild, a lot of used the kisser button, and now nobody um, uses them. I haven't used one since I had my first hunting bow. It had one on there. Um, I don't understand why everybody's gone away from that. Like it does seem like it would help with your acre point, correct?
I I still use a kisser button,
Yeah.
and
Where do
I
you have it hit on your face?
the corner of my lip,
Okay.
right where the two lips meet, that's where it hits because it's a consistent point. You can't really tell, but in that joint between your upper and lower lip, you can get to that one point, and that's an easy place to get to. That's where it lines up on me, because I'll get everything else lined up, and that's just a point to make sure that the rest is all set.
Yeah, yeah, I understand and yeah, I've always wondered because I haven't used one. Because nobody uses one, and following trends kind of messes you up. It seems
Yep.
like um, it does, and there's a lot of those.
Like they'll say, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Right. So I guess that's my point. Is that's been my biggest struggle with our, and like I said, I'm getting pretty good now. I'm getting ready to really go give it a go. But I feel like, yeah, misinformation and trying to change things so many times because all the information out there is can be kind of crippling. Instead of just go shoot your bow and try to do it the same way every time, you know. Um, but it's always nice to hear the little tricks that some people use that people don't talk about. You know, like you said, the D loop thing. That makes a lot of sense to me. And that's something I've been wondering about. I've never heard anybody say that. Don't put the knocking points on there. Just put it, and that's what everybody used to do. Well, there was the metal ones for a while. You remember those?
Oh yeah, yeah. I still got some in a box. Those are the worst
Yeah,
things you can put on them because they just not only they have a lot of extra weight, but they beat up
yeah.
your other strings because the extra weight pulls
Oh,
that string forward further and
they
starts
tear
smacking
everything
into
up.
your
Yeah.
cables.
Yeah. They tear everything up. So yeah, no, I think you might be onto something there, and everybody else on the internet is going to disagree with you because you got to put one
Eh,
at the bottom or one at the top and bottom. Really, you don't, especially on like my target bow, which is 40-inch axle to axle. That string angles, you know, so wide that like you're not going to get any knock pinch there anyway. Really, it's not like a really short hunting bow where you have a really sharp angle coming down on the top and bottom of that loop.
and
But
it's even more important with the short ones because now, um, what happens? You've got your string is straight, your knot goes through it, nice, 90-degree angle, and now then if you have a knot point below and or above it, and then you put coppers on below it, now as you pull back, that string starts going at an angle. And then the more angle it has, that knot can pop off because it's not straight in there. Because the knot is designed to have the string go all the way up and locks in there. Once you start pulling out, then it comes out and it can come loose. So what you have with a loop above and below with no knot point tied in is it's still going to pull. That string is not going to change angles in that knot. You can pinch that knot all you want. It's not going to make it come out because you're pulling from above and below where it goes to the knock. So you draw back and take a look at, you set up your camera on a tripod or something
okay.
so you can zoom in and draw back at full draw and see what that string does in relationship to that arrow. Now, with just the loop on there, draw back and see what the angle relationship between the angle is between your string and your knock. And you're going to see with one knock point, you're going to be pulling at an angle. It's going to be an angle on your knock. Now,
Ah,
it's going to be consistent, so it should shoot consistently, but it's not going to get as much force transferred from the string to the arrow because now it's coming at an angle.
well, that and I've noticed, especially with the blade rest, when you pull back on a real small blade rest, you got to pull back nice and straight, and or your arrow will fall off the rest, right? So
Right.
I've noticed every like it might be every 20th arrow, I'll pull back, and that thing will jump up and kind of try to come off my wrist. So freaking out. I'm checking. Am I getting knock pinched? No, everything's just the same. Thinking maybe it's me. Maybe I'm just pulling back, you know. But no, that makes sense now. That's probably what's going on there. Is that stupid knock point I have at the bottom? It's lifting my arrow off the right. That
You're
just
pulling at
happens
an angle.
occasionally. It just happens occasionally, and then like, oh, is it me? Am I getting knock pinched? But I never thought like, wait a minute, dummy. Like you're getting, you know what I mean? It's pulling it at an angle. It's not pulling it straight back. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Wow.
And it's probably a little bit you too as well,
Oh, absolutely. It's
because
usually
you
me.
might,
Yeah.
as you draw them back, you might be putting a little bit more pressure, because you're touching your bow. Maybe you're putting
Right.
a little more pressure with your middle finger one time, which is going to tilt the bow down as you draw them back, or more with your index fingers at the top, it can tilt it back a little bit. So hang it,
Yeah.
touching the riser can make it do different things you're drawing back.
Okay. Hmm.
That's
That
why I say don't hang on to it, just push.
just push. Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
push.
Push. Try a sling. Yeah.
A sling, or get out your finger
Yeah.
sling.
Finger.
Either
Huh.
one is okay.
Yeah.
A lot
And
of them
just
don't like the
about
slings
that.
on them, but
Forget about that bow flying forward because, like I said, sometimes you think about that and you'll do a little jump right before it goes off, or after it goes off. Sorry, and you'll do a little jump to try to catch the bow. Right?
yeah,
We do that. We do that. Yeah. And
especially your target bow with what you say 40 inch
40.
axle.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
Matthews tricks. Yeah.
that's going to have a lot of forward force,
It does.
and that's the newer bows don't have that forward force because they're more parallel. The force, the arrows being parallel, the force goes up and down instead of, they
Yeah.
counter each other out instead of adding. So you got each limb is going to put so much force forward, and now you got double
Right.
that force going forward. And all my bows are fairly long axle. Um,
Yeah. I like the long. Yeah. My hunting bow is 33. So I don't really like any shorter than that. I just feel more accurate.
but
Yeah.
the problem I see with it, with a little bit longer draw length, if you got a short draw length like 26, 27, probably not a big deal. But when you start getting 29, 30-inch draw length, the angle of that string is so sharp that peep is way away from your eye.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
The further it is away from the eye, the bigger you have to have a hole because you can't see through it. And now
Yeah.
the closer you can get it to your face, you can deal with the smaller peeps.
Now, I guess hunting, I use uh, eighth inch peep sight. But like, do you feel it is beneficial to use the smallest peep sight you can for target archery, or
Yeah,
um,
yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Because what you have is you've got your front sight and you got your rear sight. And if you have a big hole in the back, you can move that around in there and you don't know where it's at, because now it's you have a big gap around it. You have to make sure you have enough consistent amount of white gap around your front sight before your peep. Shorten the peep up a little smaller and a little smaller, and you get to the smallest one. And now when you're looking through there, you look through there, all you can see is your sight.
right,
You can't see any gap around it. So now you're right at that edge. Or maybe you're so small that all you can see is your pins.
right,
And now the finer you are, the more accurate you're going to be.
yeah. The thing is, it changes from like outdoor, depending on the lighting, to indoor with the target archery. Like,
Right.
can't just have that. I feel like, I'll be indoors where the light's a little lower sometimes. My housing and my eclipse I have there is perfect. Sometimes I go outside and it's really bright. I have this halo of daylight around, at the same thing. So, I almost feel like you need two bows to be
Yeah.
competitive. Yeah. Yeah.
Because you're going to want the little bit bigger one on hunting, because sometimes you're in low light conditions, still legal shooting time. But if the peep is so small, you can't gather enough light to see through it. It needs to be bigger to gather more light so that your eye
Yeah. And
can
I
see
feel
through it a little better.
even just going from 3D to indoors competitively, like, kind of need two bows. So, yeah. That's, uh, that's something else I've been thinking about, is, you know, having two bows. Man, they're so expensive now, aren't they?
Well, and just starting out, I'd recommend don't go for the high dollar bows for your hunting bow. Go get one of those inexpensive ready to shoot packages.
Uh-uh.
Um, you
Yeah, for
know,
starting out.
and
No,
for just starting out.
yeah, I have a nice hunting bow. Um, and I have a nice target bow. This the target bow I had to go a little older on because they're $2,000 now for them
Yeah,
each. So I got about a 5-year-old one. Um,
and they're just fine.
they are,
Nothing wrong
they
with that.
are, they are. It's all me. It's all me.
Well,
Because the
my
guy,
hunting bow's 24 years old.
is it really? What is it?
Yeah, it's a PSE Carrera
Oh,
2001.
wow. Yeah,
And then my
yeah,
other bow is a 2003 um, Scorpion.
and there's plenty of deer killed with those. You
Yeah.
know, that's the
I haven't
truth.
killed any deer with that one because it's not my hunting bow.
Oh, okay, right. But I mean, there's the
Yeah,
original PSE. Yeah, 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 yeah. Hunting, I feel is like I said. I think the important part about that is getting close to the animal.
right.
It's not as much. I know a lot of people end up doing competitive archery to help their bow hunting. Like I said, you're aiming at an 8-inch target. The biggest thing is getting close to keeping your nerves down and make it
Yeah,
ethical shot. The target thing's totally different. It's good God, you can't miss. You can't miss a little bitty ring.
yeah. Well, and it does help, especially go the 3D shoots with unmarked yardages.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah,
I've never shot a marked yardage one. I prefer the unmarked ones because
hard.
that's my practice for hunting, and
Yeah,
I don't have a known yardage to the deer.
right. No,
Might know things around it, so I can, pretty good, but I've got to judge that yardage to that deer if he doesn't come out on one of the spots I know. And
and they don't stand still for you.
yeah, it's kind of hard to range find them when they're that close.
Yeah, they take a few steps before you get when you draw. Yeah, it's a totally different thing. But I love both of them, man. And um, yeah, it's just a passion of mine. I enjoy shooting. Just enjoy shooting, and I yeah, I'm gonna really give it a shot this year to 2026 to compete. I think I'm gonna do pretty good. Um, yeah, I'm gonna keep hunting. I did good last year. I was in Kentucky. You only get one buck tag there. I got a really nice big bodied 8 pointer, and I got a doe. But I swear it was a few weeks after this giant walked out, giant big old rack 10 pointer after I had already spent my buck tag. so, so I'm in Virginia this year, and you can get 3 buck tags. So we'll see. Maybe this year I can, maybe I get a little bigger one this year. Yeah, it's been fun. I've never shot a deer with a gun. I've probably shot 20 some deer, which is not a lot, but in my life, never went gun hunting, which I'm not against at all. I love guns. Yeah, I like to shoot and I agree with guns, but yeah, I've never shot a deer with a gun. I like the whole challenge and the sport of it. You know,
I think I've shot two, or maybe three. I shot two deer with my bow in the same time within minutes of each other. I shot way more deer with a bow than I have with a gun.
yeah. Yeah. How did that happen? One
Well,
came out, and then you shot it, and another one came
they
out.
come from different directions. One was coming from my right behind me, and I drew a nice shot at it, and it turned around and it run off. I watched it run. And I heard another deer come from my left, about 20 yards away to my left. So I turned around, knocked an arrow, waited for it to come out, shot that one. So it was just a matter of
That's
a
cool.
minute or two.
That's
They're
cool.
coming from different directions.
And didn't even phase them that the other one took off running.
No, no, because it was like, probably 30 yards away.
That's
And I
pretty
was
cool.
shooting the other direction.
Right, right. So you Nebraska, is that more of a mule deer or
If you're out in the
whitetail?
western part, it's mule deer, but over on the eastern end where I'm at, it's almost exclusively whitetail. I
Really?
don't think there's any muleys over this far where I'm at.
Really? The
I,
state splits like that.
Yeah.
Like, oh wow, that's interesting. That's
So
cool.
I think, see, I'm way on the east end. There's not much difference between me and Iowa. Or right, we're that close.
Oh, Iowa.
I'm probably
Okay.
only about 60, 70 miles from the Iowa
You
border.
you got some
Yeah.
good, you got some good ones up there. Yeah, I was
Yeah.
miss for big deer. Yeah,
Well,
that's
their firearm season is shotgun. It's been that way for a long, long time.
really what
And
they
now
fire.
they got a couple areas that now you can use rifle, but normally, um, shotgun, muzzleloader, and archery. That
That's
was your
it.
only
That's really
options.
cool.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Um,
That's really cool.
so you're not going to, get them that far away.
Right.
Shotgun, you don't have that far of a range. Um,
No, 50 yards. Fif-
yeah, not much longer than archery. And
Yeah.
muzzleloaders, that's your long range. But some
Yeah.
of the muzzleloaders, you can get out there 7,500 yards with a
Yeah.
muzzleloader.
Right.
But for a rifle, 100 yarders is, it's
It-
nothing.
I
Yeah.
can. I got bored with guns. Like I shot a lot of guns growing up. I just got bored with it. Once you set your scope, you get it dialed in. You just sit there and hit the bullseye all day. Archery is way more difficult, and that's why I enjoy it a lot more. Like you could have your foot in the wrong place and miss. It's
Yeah.
not. It's a
But
different thing.
and, we've got one of my rifles. You have to use the exact same bullet, same brand, because you switch brand, same weight, it
Yeah,
doesn't shoot the
yeah.
same.
Well, there you go. Ballistics.
But a box of shells will last us a long time because you go out and for many years I go out, take a shot, scope still on, hunt.
Good to go.
Next year they shot. The last couple of years I didn't bother shooting it.
You don't have to. I mean,
Yeah,
it's a lot more repeatable. I
as
feel,
long as you're not bouncing it around.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So that's what got me more into archery too. But I still enjoy my guns. I like bow hunting. It's one of the hardest things I've ever done.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
is a little bit more difficult, and
yeah,
on
absolutely.
my I've got a Browning X-Bolt, and being a reloader, I worked up a load for both those guns.
How you
Not the one we're
looking?
using right now, but I worked up a load that'll going to work for that when you get ready to stop using those and resight it back in. Um, I was able to take at the indoor range, it's 26 yards with the 270, and put three shots in the exact same hole. You could not tell there was more than one shot in there.
Right, right.
That's how I worked up a load for it. And then for my OT 6, it was the same thing, but you could see maybe about a millimeter mark, the three of them along the side was off just like a millimeter
Yeah,
from
like
being in the same hole. Yeah, it was just three little marks. It really
yeah,
wasn't. I'm not even sure it was much more than a millimeter, but you know,
yeah. Still, yeah, that's yeah, they're a lot different, dude. But I enjoyed shooting guns. It's just and that and prices of everything now. You go out and shoot 30 rounds. That's $30. I can shoot 30 arrows and get the same arrow and get it back.
that is the advantage of archery is you can reuse your projectile.
If you don't miss the target and hit a tree. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Well, it depends on what you're shooting too. Sometimes you're okay, just pull it out, or sometimes you lose the tip.
Well, yeah,
Yeah, you're looking at 50 cents for a tip.
yeah,
Last time
yeah.
I looked, they were like $6 for a dozen.
Cheaper than a bullet, for sure. Cheaper than a
I
bullet.
can't even buy the projectiles for that price.
No, not at all. Not at all. Yeah.
Not hardly. Especially the price of powder and everything else has gone up sky high. And
Yeah, I guess even loading your own's expensive now.
yeah,
Yeah.
I don't bother with handguns just because the cost of the powder and the primers and the projectile and then my time to do them. It you can get some decent ones for handguns. Now rifles, I'll probably always reload rifles.
Well, I'm just more into the whole accuracy and long shot thing, and or maybe it's because I'm not very good with a handgun. I don't know. I'm just I'm more into. I like the long shots and the patience and the accuracy. That's why I like archery. Yeah, handgun thing. I just I have a couple, not not my favorite thing, and like I said, I'm horrible with them.
Yeah.
What about bow fishing? I do a little bit of that. Have you ever
Oh yeah.
tried that?
I've done it a few times.
It's
Um,
that's pretty fun. It's,
yeah, that not the last time. The time before I went out was at the river, and these carp were coming by. I think they're carp or something. They're fairly good size. And I'd shoot them and I'd miss. I'd shoot them and I'd miss. And I thought a gar come by. You know those alligator gars?
yeah,
They're
I
about
get a
an
lot of those.
inch and a
They're
half diameter.
yeah,
And it's like, and I hit it. It's like,
yeah,
how did I
yeah.
hit that one? I missed these big ones.
It's weird. Like I'm no expert at it, but yeah, you got to like aim over top of them, depending on how the water and like the arrow will float down. It's fun. It's fun. You know.
Well, and
Yeah.
these are on the surface, so I didn't have to compensate for being
Oh
under the
wow.
water. They're on the surface.
I probably still hit 50% of the ones I shoot at, It's fun. It's fun.
Well,
It's
and it
good.
was a recurve.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah. I use a little compound, little floating arrow.
I,
It's pretty fun.
yeah, for me, I pick up the recurve. I shoot it one way. I pick up my compound. I shoot it completely different. And I've tried. I can't shoot compounds without sights.
No, I
I
some
just,
people
my mentally, I just can't make that
no,
transition. I don't want to try. With the recurve, I don't use sights on it. You know, I focus on, like we talked about earlier, focus on where I want the arrow to go.
that's crazy. I haven't shot
And
a recurve since I was a
I
kid.
don't, I don't look at the tip of the arrow. I don't look anything on the riser, and I'm not doing all that. I just instinctively I look at the
Yeah,
target and I shoot.
muscle memory.
Yeah.
Hold it the same way every time. Um, That's weird. Yeah, I haven't shot. I have way too much work to do with my compound shooting right now. I believe when I get older, I might. I'm sure I'll pick that recurve back up and just when I get bored. Yeah, it's I haven't. I still have the one I had when I was 12 years old or so. Shakespeare is what it's called. Yeah, I'll probably pick it back up one day, but now I'm still trying to figure out the compound game. But yeah, with the bow fishing, I have just one of the old metal pins with a painted dot on it, no fiber
Yeah.
optic, just to get me. Yeah, yeah, that's what I got on there on the little compound. It kind of helps. But yeah, it's not a definitely not an exact precision sport there for me. But
No.
it's really fun. It's really especially when you get one.
Easy to retrieve your arrow, just pull back on the string.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You don't have to walk or nothing.
Yeah, and if I miss, I got one of the reels. I can just pull a little trigger on it and wind it
Yeah,
back in, and
reel it
the
back in.
little tubes.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I enjoy that too. Yeah, I just enjoy shooting arrows.
But it's been great talking with you. I had a
I
lot of fun,
really, really
and
appreciate you having me on here. Sorry about the phone overheating and that
oh,
incident.
now
I just
next time if you're
now,
on your phone
now
for very long, you got to be inside.
I learned something, and I learned a couple other things too. There's some things you made me think about. I really appreciate that. I appreciate your time, and I'd like to talk to you some more, pick your brain a little more.
Oh yeah, anytime.
You definitely say some things that are different that make me think. I really enjoy it.
Well, that's the whole goal, make you think.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And I really appreciate you having me on here.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun, and like we talked about a couple times here, if you have a problem with your shooting form or something's not working right, take a video on your phone and upload it to the group.
I'd like to
Um,
get feedback because I don't know. I
yeah,
know I've been shooting and I hit the bullseye a lot of times, and I need to figure out how to hit it every time. So anything
yeah. Yeah, just don't upload a YouTube video because I don't allow you to do that because yeah,
No,
who
no.
knows what they're going to try and advertise afterwards because they're putting all
Oh,
kinds of other videos on them and yeah, it's just easier. Go on your phone, go and join the group, and then upload and go. It's easier than trying to do
yeah,
anything else. And
I
then
don't do a lot
it's
of that
easier for
anyway.
me too because then I can download it and I can go in my editor software and look at it, look closer if I need to. And sometimes I can pick it up just by watching it, but it's
Okay.
sometimes nice to be able to figure out. exactly what's going on. And,
Yeah,
so
it'd be
that's something that, we offer to anybody in the group. Feel free
helpful.
to ask questions. We like helping you out, and that's just kind of what we do in the group. And
You definitely got me. I'm gonna go cut my D loop off now and redo that because
yeah,
that makes a lot of sense. I really appreciate that nugget of information.
we might have a bunch of people cutting their D loops off, and just
It
got to
maybe
remember how to put them back on too.
well, yeah, it makes sense though. Uh, well, thank you for your time, sir.
Yeah.
Um, I'll we'll talk again soon. I hope. I really appreciate it.
Yeah. I just want to remind everybody you can listen to the podcast on Spotify and wherever you get your podcast at, as well as Audible. You can catch it out there and you can watch the video. We kind of showed some things here. It's kind of nice to be able to watch it on my YouTube channel, Learn to Fix It Yourself, as well as, like we talked about, join the Arch Talk 101 Facebook group, and the videos will be there as well. And there's some other videos out there. I might have to try and organize them a bit better where I show how I teach different forms and different techniques and sometimes working on bows and stuff like that. So, that's all out there. And if you have any questions, we can get them answered for you. If I don't know the answer, somebody in the group probably does. Well, my name is Roy Canterbury. I've been your host on Arch Talk 101, and we'll definitely catch you on the next one. Remember, if you have any questions, get a hold of us. The only dumb question is the one you haven't asked yet, because once you ask it, it's not dumb. So ask away. Don't ask the same question 20 times. Then something's wrong because either I don't understand your question or something. But well, we'll catch everybody on the next one.